My selection of the go-to lightsabers for Christmas. The number one, and that's the new saber of today because it's Black November. Neopixel, the number one saber we all dream of having, because it's the third consecutive year in a row where we do our now annual charity event.
Welcome to the Saber Factory.
Hello there. Welcome at thesaberfactory.com. I'm Kevin. And today I have a little bit of a special video because it's not the usual monthly digest where I show you the new sabers that we just entered in our catalog. This time, I'm going to give you my selection of the go-to lightsabers for Christmas. Because, well, Christmas is coming, the holidays are coming, and the best time of the year to order for your holiday gift is now, November, because it's Black November. Well, you know, Black Friday, well, extend it to the month of November because what the heck, I can do whatever I want. And you got Black November. From the first day to the last day, you get great offers, a selection of sabers that is 25% off with the code BF25, and another selection of sabers where any two sabers you pick, it could be two different sabers, you get the second one at 40% off with code BFBOGO. And that is starting November 1st. And because our sabers are mostly made on order at factory, there is this 15 to 20 days, time frame between your order and the time you receive it. That makes it that it's best to order in November if you want to make sure that you have it as a holiday gift. If that's your aim, if that's what you're looking for. So, best time to order is November. Use one of those offers, and if you can afford to pass on one of those great offers or any other offers that we might have, like another type of discount code, if you can pass on your discount, decide not to input any discount, then you will be donating 10% of the value of your order to a charity. Because it's the third consecutive year in a row where we do our now annual charity event with Les Liens du Cœur, which is a French non-profit in my hometown of Bordeaux that helps families that have children with congenital heart diseases. And I have a video with more details, and you can find all the details on our website, but we've raised more than $8,000 during the last 2 years, and we're renewing it this year. And I know it's going to be a great success. And I know a lot of you have discarded their discount to make that donation. It's simple. You just don't enter a discount and it's done. You're donating 10% of the value of your card. So that's it. That's for the news. That's for the good news. It's just good news. And now I'm just going to dive in and I'm going to tell you what is my absolute best selection of sabers to get for yourself or to offer. And of course, I'm going to start with the Graflex because it's the most iconic lightsaber. Because it is the first saber you see Obi-Wan gifting Anakin's saber to Luke, and it is the most recognizable of all. And I know you might have another preferred character, but unless it is for this reason, usually, most people, when they start a lightsaber collection, they go, okay, it's either my favorite character or it's this one. And this one, so I'm not going to go in-depth with every saber because I have other in-depth videos, and you just have to browse my channel to find those great in-depth videos where you can hear more. You can have some very precise trivia and even details on how it's made and what it can do. Of course, if you're looking to understand how a Xeno 3 saber works, how a neopixel works, compare it to a baselit, how durable the blade is. I also have plenty of other videos on that channel, so feel free to browse it. But here, I just want to give you my pointers on why this is the best lightsaber for you. And I have the Graflex. I have another character saber. I have the Stunt range, which is a range of sabers that looks a lot like the replicas, but it's made in a simpler way. It has a little less greeblies and stuff on it, so it's more comfortable to use, and it's half price of the replica. So this is a great range. And I have a new saber. So yes, I did lie. There is one new saber this month, and this one you don't want to miss it, because we've never had a saber at such a low price. And so the Graflex, coming back to it, it went through a major transformation this year, where, of course, Nexus Sabers is improving their tooling, is growing, and the factory is now capable of really doing very custom design things. Like just for one hilt, they could have a specific part made, one process that is not used anywhere else on the line. And now you can really compare this Graflex replica to some artisan replica that you can find, where they actually, do the same thing, is replicating the original Graflex parts to the best of their ability, because original Graflex parts are so expensive. You're looking at spending at least $5,000 to get an actual Graflex with original parts, and sometimes even more than that. So replicating Graflex parts is a crazy hard job, but now they're doing it so well, you have to applaud it. It is a J-lock system like a true Graflex, so you're releasing the clamp here, you see, now it's released, and I can twist and open, you see the J-lock, and now, just like a true Graflex, I can separate my parts. And of course, I can switch those parts with those of other Graflex, because there are many editions of a Graflex. This is the Rayflex, and just read the blurb, the description on my website, because I do bring precisions, because some parts cannot be switched. So just pay attention to that. But you've got your J-lock system here, and you have a choice of Xeno 3 baselit neopixel or Profi neopixel cores. And I do recommend you go Profi if you're serious with your lightsaber collection. I know Profi is a learning curve for a lot of people, getting through the config files and all. It's not an easy step for some, but if you're comfortable with that, or if you're willing to take that step, Profi is the go-to board when you're really serious about your saber collection and you just want the best. Your button is here.
Power on.
This is a Xeno 3 version, neopixel. And your retention screw here is screen accurate. So it's not your usual Allen screw. It is a flathead screw, just like on a Graflex. So if you're not comfortable using this, well then you can use the regular retention screw that we have in the set. But and of course, well, again, I'm not going to demo a neopixel or whatever, but you have your choice of sound fonts, and you have plenty. Oh, the Assassin is great because you can see a blade mode. Nice. Blade mode. So, that's a standard Xeno 3. You always have the separate electronics from the hilt. So anytime you get a lightsaber, what matters is you have the hilt and the electronics separate. So the day you want to change your electronics, you want to upgrade, you want to replace, or you want to customize, this is always separate. There is your board, your SD card, your battery. So yeah, just in case you're a little new to the lightsaber world and you're also aiming at understanding a little bit more about what they do, this is how they work. So any NeoPixel demo of the Xeno 3 board or the Profi board you're looking for will show you what it's capable of doing. You know, the list is absolutely immense. Xeno 3 has a Bluetooth app, and you can customize everything. You can even make your own programming, like it's a live programming, but you can say, hey, I want the button to do this and that, and that's all I want. I don't want any other function because I don't want to be bothered with all the function it's got. And I have a video about that. It's the video about the custom function. You can customize your sound font. You can record your sound font. I have a video about that. You can do so much. Profi, you can do anything, so it would be pointless for me to list. But it's crazy what you can do. This is the Graflex. The brushing. This is the Episode 5 ESB version, because in Empire Strikes Back, so that's the accurate card. That is the accurate aluminum tape strip that was put on the Graflex engraving, because, well, on the Episode 4 version you see the Graflex engraving here, but not on Episode 5. It's got the 2 red buttons, so you see the details, and even there, this is the bulb clamp, and it just works just like you would expect if you release this screw here. Once it is released, you pinch this, and now you can release the blade the same way you would release the bulb of a Graflex. That's your Graflex. It is a magnificent hilt. The redesign of this year is just all that it needed, and of course you've got different versions. You've got the Rayflex. You have this one is also an Episode 5, but accurate to the Force Awakens, because they use this as the base to do the Force Awakens. And so you have the flash eye from A New Hope, but you have the clamp card from ESB, but it's slightly different from this one. So we have many variants that you can find on the saberfactory.com. So yeah, the Graflex is my number one go-to lightsaber. It starts at $319 at current price, you know, without any sale offer on it. So you can always find a better price, maybe sometimes, you know, just saying. But this is the number one saber we all dream of having, most of us, on a shelf at home. This is the Graflex. And now I'm just going to switch to something completely different. And I'm going to jump from what is an expensive range of lightsabers, the replica sabers. I'm going to switch to the dueling sabers. And I'm not going to start with... So, what I have here is what used to be the absolutely cheapest lightsaber we used to have, the Lana. Up until today, $79 US. So this is the old version. You can find, this is an older design, but it's changed a little bit. You have an USB-C now. It's slightly different design here, but that's basically it. The Learner, 285 grams, 285 grams. Very, very light, very nimble, and very strong. The best choice you could ever find for an entry lightsaber. All you want is the electronics. It's the same for every lightsaber. So you choose baselit Xeno 3, neopixel Xeno 3. And if you ask me on the chat, I can even get you a Profi if you want. And it's 2 parts hilt. So there's only one thread here in the middle to access your core, and a coupler included. The coupler here allows you to attach a similar saber there. Not just a similar saber, but any VHC saber. So VHC is the variable hilt component. It's basically a thread size, a thread standard from Nexus sabers. And all the sabers that you see in the title that they are VHC means they have the same threads, so you could attach them together. That is a different saber. So once you have that in mind, Why is it $79 and others are more expensive? Well, because this one is a little bit more expensive, a few dollars more. Because this one has two-tone, different finish, a little more CNC work, as you can see. CNC. So it's a little bit more expensive. It takes a little more time to produce. But that's it. Same material thickness, you know. And of course, as I said, same electronics. So it's virtually, you know, it produces the same result. It's just a difference in design. If you prefer one, you're like, okay, I'm willing to spend a few more bucks because I like this design. Then we have colored sabers, then we have hilts with bigger pommels and, you know, longer. And the more complex the machining, the more expensive. And that's the difference. So all you need, if you're just looking to get an entry price lightsaber, it's going to be great for spinning, training, and fighting, dueling in an academy or whatever, you know, just playing around. This is all you need if you're okay with the looks it's got, and if you want something a little more intricate, something you feel is more your taste, browse the catalog. So that's the learner, and here that's the double, and this one, why is it in my list of the best sabers to pick? Because it's a set of two sabers for 179 USD. So in terms of price, you're looking at, you know, just a few more bucks than this. And you get, of course, per hilt. But you get two sabers, both with a coupler. So you just have to remove one coupler. And now you can assemble those hilts together. And you have a double blade saber. And as I said, electronics being, you know, the same. This is a great choice because you get two sabers at a great price. They look very good. What I really like, so this is a baselit. What I really like is, and I'm just going to attach the blade before I tell you what I really like, is those cuts in the emitter here, because when you turn it on, you see your blade shining through. And we have a lot of sabers with this style. Of course, as you can hear, volume is at 100% and it's a loud saber. So it's a loud saber. Sound comes out great. Of course,
Wanderer.
this is a loud sound font. You get your accent swings. You get your flash on clash. You get your all your blade modes and effects that you would find on Xeno 3, except on the baselit you have less effects because it's not an LED strip. And I have a video talking about neopixel and baselit, so you can understand what you lose when you take a baselit, of course, due to that technology. But it's super light and it's super durable. What are we going to do with it? Again, I have tested a blade, a neopixel blade, against a tree, and like I couldn't break the blade against the tree. Plenty strong, it's light, it allows for great dueling. The blade sits deep enough in the emitter that it's held well. Yep. Again, not losing too much time diving into functions and things that you can find on other videos. Moving forward, this is, the double is a perfect example. Comes in multiple colors. Just like the learner, you have multiple color choices. And it's still a very light lightsaber because it's 310 grams. This, as I said, 285 grams. So overall, very light. Of course, when you compare this with a replica that's often more than 400 or 500 grams, and this one is pretty heavy. Of course, the weight is not the same. This is flying, you know. This is not flying. This is really calling for gravity. Okay, so that's your dueling. For me, so far, were the best sabers you can find in a dueling range, because what you get for the price, and they look good. But now there's a new contender, and that's the new saber of today. I want to talk about this saber now. It is called the number 1. It comes with its dedicated package. It's a special saber. It's a different saber than what we have so far. It is the first time that this saber, I would like to just show you a little more. It is the first time that we have a saber where, as in a non-discounted price, the neopixel is under $100. And the way Nexus Sabers achieved this is that you're basically taking the Lana and you're using a slightly thinner hilt. Slightly thinner. You'll see the difference here with the coupler. I don't know if the camera picks it well, but it's slightly thinner. A little bit like the old double. There was the double before this design was based on this hilt thickness. And it's got a standard version of the Xeno 3 board, meaning, yes, you choose baselit or neopixel, but you don't have an SD card, meaning you're limited with the loaded sound fonts and you can't change them. You can't customize them. You can't change the sound fonts included. They're supposed to be 16, but so far there are 18. So 16 sound fonts, 18 if you're lucky, and you can't change those sound fonts. So it's aimed at people who are not looking for customization, people who are not looking for adding their own sound fonts, and people were looking for a cheap saber to play with. And this is it. It just does the same, connects to your app via Bluetooth. Because it's thin material, it has great connectivity, just works well. Of course, a thick material like this has a very hard time connecting to Bluetooth, so you need to open the grip and let the core out for good reception. This, you don't. And this, so this is the baselit version, but you also have the neopixel version. It comes with a 72 centimeter blade. So yeah, I'm just not gonna use the 72 centimeters. And you don't have a choice of a size blade. It's always 72, even for neopixel. Don't have the retention screw, but you get the gist. It's your standard neopixel. It's your standard Xeno 3 here baselit, but you also have neopixel, and it just works the same smooth swing. You know, very choice of colors, choice of sound fonts.
New Horizon.
And limited to 16, currently 18, but I think it's a bonus because it wasn't advertised as an 18 sound fonts saber. And the only thing is, so VHC, again, because it's thinner material, you'll see that anything VHC you put on it is going to look a little bigger. So, you know, it works, but just, I don't know if, you know, you can see with my hand behind that it's slightly thicker here than here. And that's the difference in the material that's used. Other than that, you've got a great speaker, you've got a coupler, so you could couple two of those together. USB-C charging, everything you need. You just don't have, you have Bluetooth access, but you don't have the SD card, so you can't add more sound fonts. You can't customize your Saber through the SD card. Still, it just provides a lot. The NeoPixel version is low density, but honestly, you don't see that much of a difference. So that's the new entry price, the number one, because I think it's going to be the number one lightsaber. It's going to be your first saber if you're entering this world. It's going to be a great saber that you buy so you can play with your kids, but be reminded that all lightsabers come with 18650 lithium batteries. They're complex electronics. We always recommend that kids use it with adult supervision. It's not necessarily it's not a toy saber. If you're aiming for toy sabers, I truly recommend you go with, alkaline battery sabers like the Hasbro, or Disney sabers, something simpler with just a couple sound functions. Those are a little complex, but if you want to play with your kid, you don't want to spend too much. If you want an entry price saber for yourself, this is it. One recommendation that I have with the number one is don't use it with a Saber Academy. I think the hilt construction, the threads being thinner is nice if you want to play around, if you want to just have some fun, if you want to train spinning sabers, but I don't think that strong, serious, repeated dueling will do well with that kind of saber construction. I think you should still go with the thicker sabers like the Learner, which is just a, $10 more and 20 more in NeoPixel. So you should still go with this. But it's a new choice, and I think it's a great choice. So entry price dueling, if you want more style, something different, you have more complex hilts just to your taste. And if you're looking for something in between what is a dueling saber and a replica saber, then there is the Stunt range, and yes, I'm not forgetting about Maul Saber. The Stunt range is... So the idea was for Nexus was that they wanted an affordable range of lightsabers. So something that wouldn't, cost, because a replica saber is usually around $280 with us at the Saber Factory, which we have some of the best prices in the industry. You're looking at $280 to $400 for a replica saber for one of the main characters. And of course, that's a budget. Some cosplayers, if you're a cosplayer, you do know that sometimes for $100 you can make a cosplay, and then you're looking for your lightsaber and you're like, why is the lightsaber 3 times the price of my cosplay? And maybe there's a great option. Affordable replicas that are built simpler, but they retain the essentials of what that replica is. And also they allow, and that's why they call the Stunt range with me, they allow to duel. Of course, a saber like Obi-Wan's saber, here the Obi Stunt, is still a thin neck, meaning this part here is a little bit of a weakness to the saber. Doesn't really matter, you'll be fine dueling with it, but the blade doesn't sit very deep in the emitter, so they're using a slightly elongated emitter here, just like with the replica, by the way. This is the replica and this is the original emitter, but you also get, with the replica, you also get a spare emitter that is this one, that is slightly longer. And this allows you to just attach your blade a little stronger. So you wouldn't be able to compete with this and to duel like a lunatic, but you would still be able to play around quite well with this. But that is a thin neck. That's the problem of a thin neck. Here, trying to find solutions for it. Here, you have Anakin's or the Graflex, because it's based off Anakin Episode 3. Like, if I go and get you the saber, which is this one, of course you now see the resemblance, okay? you don't have the control box anymore, because the control box here is squared, it's pointy, it's just painful to hold, it's just right in the way where you would put your hand. So even during the shooting of the prequels, the stunt team, they built, of course, they had the prop team build replicas like this so that the prop looks just perfect on close-ups or when they're not actively dueling, but when they're fighting their asses off, they're using sabers that look more like this. Sabers where you don't have the control box, sometimes even where the strips would be, you know, flat and not necessarily like the same strip as this, but here it works okay. So they would have plenty of those because they needed them for choreography. So that's an example. That's your Graflex stunt. And here you have your OB stunt. And this is half price, basically. It's around half the price of the replica. Why? Because simpler machining. You don't have two tones like you have here. You have a simpler finish process compared to that electroplated, chrome-plated style. You have less greeblies and buttons. You don't have the control box. The control box, it is a complex part. It even makes accessing the core, the board, and the battery hard. So this saber is a lot of compromises. Even when you buy one, you're like, wow, this one is not easy to maintain. Like when I want to get to the board, the battery, the SD card, you have to basically disassemble everything. It's an exception, this one. And of course here, everything is very easily accessible. So this is here, and then you can open the bottom here, and you have your cord that you simply release with the screw. Pay attention that you have to disconnect the little white JST connector at the top here, but it's basic maintenance. This design, we only have it for US customers in the USA if you order from the ready-to-ship inventory. For all made on order, made at factory sabers, it's a slightly different design. You have, you basically have a slightly longer grenade section here, the black section, and the button is on the black section. So it's just a little difference. Also, the blade size is different, but never mind. It's not that important. What's important is there you see a simpler construction for that saber, and you get it half priced. It's as simple as this. And honestly, from afar, when you attach this to your belt with the included Covetech wheel, honestly, you will be hard pressed to see the difference, to actually say, ah, this is a fake Obi-Wan. There. Yes, when you notice that close up, there's no control box, maybe you're like, oh, okay, it's a slightly more affordable version of it. But honestly, at that price, tell me you don't want it. Same thing with Vader. Vader, Stunt, no control box, but the rest, and of course, thinner design, because Vader's saber, again, if I go get one. Okay, so, I don't have one that is clean and looks good. This one is a prototype, so don't mind what you're seeing, but you know, it's much thicker, it's bigger, it's got the control box, you know, it's the replica thing. So now, just this, not an actual saber, but the hilt allows me to demonstrate it's the usual, you know, 1-inch core, normal thickness of a hilt, some gribblies, some things reminiscent of Vader. It just looks the part. You know, honestly, look at it and tell me that it doesn't work. Until you see there's no control box. Yes, the activation box is gone. Boo-hoo, half the price. D-ring works with the Covetech belt clip. Either you have a Covetech wheel that slides in there, or you have a D-ring and the ring slides in there. So, And of course, the most recent was Kylo Ren. And here is the same thing. It is much simpler than the Kylo Ren. Yes, you don't have the cutouts where you see the gray greeblies, and the same thing here where you see stuff inside and a couple blue wires and the red wire coming into it. Yes, it's simpler. Yes, it's thinner. But you still get the great side blades with the burnt effect. It still looks nice. You have a CoverTech wheel. It just works. One customer made me a note that I should have emphasized in my video when I went in depth with this one, that the side blades are, yes, they're wired together like one blade. And unlike the Kylo Ren replica where the... yeah, I wanted to show you the replica, but it means, again, I have to go and... Oh, I've got one here. This is Wonderland if you like lightsabers here. You see the difference in terms of design? Of course, the replica, you know, it's the real thing, but this is quite nice. And yes, the Xeno 3 as well as Profi boards, they do have different slots where you can wire your side blades. If you have additional blades, if you have side blades. And this here is wired simply, where the two side blades are wired with the main blade, meaning you don't get, you know, the ignition, the staggered ignition, where you first have, you know, the blade, then the side blades. But you have it with the sound. The sound works. You can activate it. You can set the sound delay in the app just like you would with this one. But this one is wired, has a simpler wiring. And that also allows to cut the price, you know, in half between the replica and this one. It still looks really, really cool.
Power.
So baselit, 7/8 of an inch, and standardized 7/8 side blades, unlike the replica. And it just baselit here. So let me find Kylo Ren.
The Knight.
And I changed the color. I'm just gonna set my color back to red. So yeah, that's... Of course you can change the blade mode.
Pulse.
And now it's not doing the flame, you know, unstable Kylo Ren effect. Again, it just works great, it sounds great, and like I said, you don't have the delayed ignition. Compromise? Yes. But at that price? So,
Power off.
again, as I said, you're looking at $150 to $200 for a Saber of the Stunt range. You're looking at $280 to $400 for a replica. So get the point. There's also a Luke in the Stunt range. This was there. It was there. The more affordable Luke was there since the very beginning. But those, they came in last year. This year it was redesigned. This year and this summer. So it's a great range, and it's having a massive success. So I truly recommend you check it out because it's very interesting. And finally, because it's a little bit in between, there is this great Maul redesign, because I find that this Saber, it encapsulates everything that has been going on with Nexus Sabers and the evolution of lightsabers, of sort of like mass-produced lightsabers in the past few years. Since I've been there, I've seen a big evolution. So let me just clean my table. So of course, Maul Saber, it comes, it's a double blade saber, so it always comes with the other half. So here, of course, I'm talking about this one. Here you have the other half, and you can attach it. Oh, and fun fact, this is VHC thread. Yes, it's one of the very rare replica sabers that has a VHC thread. So for instance, I could completely attach the second saber, I mean the two sabers together with a standard coupler or this quick release coupler. And you know the way the quick release works. So that's the other side. So there you go. So I'm going to talk about just one hilt, but it's a set of two hilts. And this is the basic Darth Maul Episode 1, The Phantom Menace replica. And this has gone through a lot. It started like this. So you can see it's not the same proportions. Didn't have the rubber rings like this. And this is not the very first version, because the very first version, if I find it, but I'm tired of standing and coming back to you, so I'm not going to go and find it. The very first version used to be all shiny, chrome, like this. Then they developed their brushing process a few years after, and second version was the brushed one like this. Okay, cool. It is very cheap, and the price has not changed. Is the set of two sabers starts at $299 USD. So it's basically, you know, $150 for one replica hilt, fully functioning, you know, because those are two separate sabers, two cores, just joining together. So it started, the price has not changed, at least with me, it has never changed. And after that, they made the Clone Wars Season 7 Maul edition, which was when Maul had his original hilt joined with a Ventress hilt design. This is, I can't describe, it's slightly more brown, it's much more fine brushing, and of course this looked like an actual screen accurate Maul saber until you get to the coupler, because this is accurate to that junction with Ventress, so that's accurate to the Clone Wars Season 7 style, but not to the Phantom Menace. So then they thought, okay, now that we have this screen accurate, we just put two of those hilts together and we have a special edition mold that I still have in the catalog, because this finish looks so great. And then they thought, okay, now we have this highly screen accurate Maul saber, but the coupler is not right. It's the one from Clone Wars Season 7. But then they thought, okay, could we take the cheap Maul version, the budget Maul version, and try to still do it with proper proportions, accurate proportions, with the hidden button, because now they know how to do it well. And they did it, and it's this one. And they changed the coupler so that it doesn't look like this, because this is Clone Wars Season 7. And this is better. Of course, there is no rubber ring here, because you need to have those holes for the sound to come out. So I'm not going to demo the Saber. I've demoed Xeno 3 4 times. It's always the same. But basically, you have your button hidden here. And that's it. There is always still... so here, the emitter is fully closed, like a Darth Maul saber would be. Here it's open, just like in this first version, because a lot of people loved it. It looks cool. So it's not totally screen accurate, but it's the entry version, $299 for two hilts. It shows how they've evolved from this to this at the very same price. Of course, this one, it's closed here. It's got a slightly better finish. The buttons are more rounded. They have this little bevel here that you don't find here. Everything here is slightly more refined than here, but the price is really not the same. So it goes to illustrate, you can find even, you know, compromises depending on where you set your threshold for screen accuracy, for usability, for what you're going to do with it. If you're going to duel and you want to have fun and you don't, care too much, how it looks, you've got very simple sabers. The stunt range that sits in between, where you're in between replica and dueling sabers, compromises are possible. And when you feel like you're not going to compromise, talk to me about compromise here. There's none made, okay? At this point, here you can say, where's the compromise? There used to be in previous versions, plenty, and I was always criticizing those little compromises in my in-depth videos. It's my selection of sabers. Don't forget the month of November is Black November. We've got amazing offers. Some sabers 25% off, some sabers where the second one is 40% off. We have our annual charity event, as I said. So enjoy the offers. Don't miss the window to order in November to make sure you get your things under the Christmas tree, if that's your thing, if that's what you're looking for. It's just a hectic time for delivery companies in December, so make sure that you're not, in the mix at the very last minute. It's never what you want to have. Enjoy our offers, and I'll see you in the next video, where I already know I have cool stuff to show you. May the Force be with you.
Join me, leave a like and subscribe to this channel.